Alrighty, guys, this morning Bud asked a great question. Welcome back to the room, Bud. He asked a great question about how to use Bookmap and how I use Bookmap. So let's take a look at a trade in Tesla. So just a few minutes ago, I had a trade fire off in Tesla that I've been waiting for a while, and it was specifically coming down from up above. I'm only interested in the long side on this one because of the trend today. Of course, the trend is up. Trend is your friend. I try to stay on the right side of this thing on each and every trade, and when I violate that rule, I wind up getting burned. So I don't do that often. But we did have a couple high-level reversals. Those are a different kind of a thing. When we had the double header up top here, and this generated the move lower. I just missed that move. We also had an infield fly move. All that stuff's great, but how about when we're looking for something that resumes the trend? And how do we go and use the information that we're gathering right here from Bookmap to establish some targets and some stop losses and that kind of stuff? Well, first things first, when price was moving lower, and I saw it coming into this pivot line, I was expecting that the pivot would inflect just like it had earlier in the session, and give me a ride back up into the travel range. That these are consistent things that happen around floor trader pivots. Floor trader pivots tend to generate a lot of program trades. Program trades tend to generate opportunity. So we're coming back down, and everything is lining up. And we see it's coming into this pivot, and I've got my order resting there. So I've already got an order sitting out to get me long at 433.75 as it's coming into the pivot. I want to catch it on the way to the pivot. I've got to stop just on the other side of the pivot. Well, where am I going to set my profit objective? Because there's a couple things that could happen here. Obviously, it could hit that 434.98 and just keep right on going. Or it could do what it did, which was hit 434.98 and reverse. How did I know to get out of that position? How did I set up that trade? Well, let's take a look at what Bookmap was showing us. Now, this is a slightly condensed version of it, trying to get it to fit into this window to record here, but you can see that as that price was moving higher from my entry point, I was going to run into this block of shares up here. And, normally, you don't really focus too much on every little tick here, but in this case, there was a solid block sitting back here where this box is. You can see it's back there again now. They've got, not that much, 1,300 shares sitting there, but you can also see there's 85,000 shares done right at that level today. So I'm going to take whatever's sitting there seriously and say, since I've already got a support and resistance area drawn there, and since that Bookmap data is confirming that overhead resistance probably is real and has managed to reverse price a couple times over the course of the session, that's going to be my target. That's going to be my first objective. And when I'm using Bookmap to sort of handicap things, to put the odds in my favor, get me in front of the opportunity and show me where the exit or the logical exit is likely to be, I want to take note of those kinds of things. I want to see threshold levels that match up with what's on the chart and are also represented then on the current order book and the session volume by price data that Bookmap is giving us. In this case, we managed to get in right at the pivot line, got out right at the profit objective. It's been up on the screen for the last 2 hours here in the room, so you all saw the logic behind the trade as it was setting up. And, really the question somebody had was, well, how did you know to get out there? How did you know not to shoot for the 436.09 pivot? You could have had, $2.50 per share or whatever if you were looking for that. Well, the answer is you need to have confluence of indications. You need to go and look at all the tools that you have on your screen and sort of put together the pieces of the puzzle, figure out where's the most likely inflection going to be, because it's not about how much money you'd like to make. It's about predicting where the twists and turns are going to be. Where's price going to bounce? And in this case, Bookmap gave us a valuable just confirmation that these earlier threshold bumps here were something that was probably going to come into play when price got back up here, making our trade a winner instead of a sideways grind that would just sort of roll out now into the rest of the session. Who knows where it's going? Don't really care. Just setting up for the next opportunity.